Hello, my name's Rachel and welcome back to my channel. So today's video I will be covering everything that you need to know about a SIPP or self-invested personal pension. So I currently have my own SIPP and I am in the process of helping my husband set up his SIPP as well. So in this video I will be covering everything you might need to know about self-invested personal pensions. So I will be covering the positives, so the freedom and control you will have over your investing. I'll also be covering tax, your allowances, the amount that you can withdraw and how withdrawals work. And then finally, I'll just go through any downsides or negatives that there might be in having your own self-invested personal pension. So first of all, let's have a think about why you might be looking to open up your self-invested personal pension. So for me personally, I chose to do this because I had pensions from old employers that I had no idea what they were invested in and didn't have any control over that money. So I wanted to take back the control of my pensions and move them into a self-invested personal pension so that I could choose to make the investments that I wanted to make. That meant also that I only had to deal with one provider. I could see all my pensions in one pot, make those investments and see how my money can grow for retirement. Whereas if I'd left them in the separate pension pots that they were in, I probably wouldn't have had much of an idea about what they're invested in or much of a choice. So I wanted to take back that control. Also, it was important for me to have an understanding of the fees I was paying for my self-invested personal pension, because the fees can really obviously have an impact on the money that you are left with at the end when it comes to retirement. Also, when you're opening up a self-invested personal pension, you will have much more choice of the investments that you are able to make. So for me, this was a real positive, as it meant that I could make investments that I felt comfortable with, the risk level that I wanted to make, and look at the returns that I wanted to make and really plan out my own retirement. If you didn't want to choose your own investments, then you could look at a kind of ready-made portfolio that was ready and geared towards when you want to retire. However, for me personally, I really like to be able to choose the actively managed funds, trusts, ETFs and different stocks and shares that I want to be invested in for my future and my pension. So a SIPP or self-invested personal pension will often have all the options available to you that would be available on that platform's ISA or stocks and shares ISA. So you will probably have the choice of many different funds, trusts, ETFs and individual stocks and shares as well. You can also choose to make changes to these investments as you go along. So perhaps every year you want to review these investments, see how they're doing, and then change them up a little bit. This is something that you can do. Also, as you get closer to retirement age, if you've decided that you maybe want to invest in investments that are less risky or diversify your portfolio more, this is all something that you can do in a self-invested personal pension. Also, potentially as you get older, if you want to invest in more bonds or less risky investments, this is something you can do in a self-invested personal pension. I'll actually be putting a video on this channel in the next week or so which compares different self-invested personal pension providers or SIPP providers, because I'm currently doing this research for my husband's SIPP to make sure that we're going with the best provider for us. So I'll be sharing this video on this channel. So if you want to check it out, then please do subscribe and you'll see it coming up in the coming weeks. So moving on now to tax, which is obviously a really important factor when you're considering your pension. So just like any other pension, you can choose to add money to your self-invested personal pension whenever you want. And if you're under 75 and a UK resident, you will get a 20% top up on your contributions into your pension. So this extra contribution from the government is called basic rate tax relief. So you usually get an extra 20% on top of whatever you're paying into your self-invested personal pension. So for example, if you decided that you wanted to pay £1,000 into your self-invested personal pension, you'd only actually have to put £800 into your SIPP, and then the government would add in an additional £200. Also, if you're paying tax at a higher rate at the moment, so if you're a higher rate taxpayer, then you can normally claim relief for your pension at that higher rate too. So as your money is sitting in your self-invested pension, it is free from capital gains tax and then also from UK income tax as well. So to receive tax relief on your personal pension contributions, you can only pay in as much as you earn, or £3,600 a year, whichever is greater. So generally you can only pay in £40,000 a year from all the different sources into your self-invested personal pension, but I will pop a link down below with a bit more detail on this, as I don't want to go into too much tax detail in this video, because I don't want you to turn off this video if you're getting a little bit bored of me talking about tax. So let's talk about the fun bit. So withdrawing the money from this self-invested personal pension, you can do this from age 55, or from 2028, you can do it from age 57. So you can usually take up to 25% of the pot of money in your SIPP completely tax-free, and then anything from there will obviously be charged as a taxable income. So now let's talk about the downsides of opening up a SIPP, or self-invested personal pension. So as I said, I do have my own SIPP and I'm really happy with the performance of this SIPP so far. I am really comfortable making my own financial decisions and understand a lot of the different terms that are being used, and I feel comfortable investing myself. However, you've really got to be comfortable with making your own investment decisions if you are going to open up a SIPP. You've also got to have a really clear idea of your retirement goals and where you want to be when it comes to 55 or 57 when you want to retire, because a lot of the decisions will be down to you personally. So I would say if you are going to be opening up a SIPP, then it makes sense to review the investments that you hold in this SIPP potentially every year or so, not too regularly, because as I said, the market is quite volatile and will drop and rise. Anyway, I absolutely love having my own self-invested personal pension. I love seeing the money that I've made from it. I will pop a link here just in case you want to see what I'm currently holding in my self-invested personal pension. And as I said, I will be putting lots of videos on SIPPs on this channel. So I'll be doing one on different SIPP providers, and then following that I'll be doing a video on opening up a SIPP, so step-by-step process of that, because as I said, I'm helping my husband at the moment to open up his SIPP for his previous employment pensions that he had. He does have a current workplace pension, which is very good, so he'll be leaving that one with his workplace. However, a couple of the past pensions that he had, which were employer pensions, we're moving into a SIPP for him. So if you'd like to see exactly what I'm doing with his SIPP, the process and which provider we end up choosing for that, then please do subscribe to this channel, because all that content will be coming up. Thank you so very much for watching, and I wish you all the best. Bye bye.